Deer in the headlights. Deer in the headlights. I'm gonna make some breakfast, and I'll show you. No, so the world is yours. So Leo asked his brother to read that to him, so he did. But I'll show you how I make my breakfast in just a few minutes.
That's a lemon wafer.
It's a juicer. You can juice lemons and tangerines. Yeah, peaches. Yeah, probably. Alright. Okay, so I have a berry blend of berries here. So usually it's just fruit that I use. Put it in my coffee mug. Come on, sprinkle a little bit more out. There we go. Then here is where I cheat. I'm going to take some sugar and just sprinkle some sugar in there. So what I'm going to do with that is that's going to kind of cut the fruit down and make sort of like a molasses-y syrup out of it. I will microwave it for 45 seconds and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. And this is what we end up with, is this syrupy, molasses-y consistency. So then I get my oats for my oatmeal, and I do spoon 1, 2, 3, 4. And so then I get 4 spoons of oats. Okay, so this is the tricky part because I don't measure anything when I cook. Literally nothing I measure. I'm just like done. So here's some milk, but I'm about to be out, so I have to grab the other gallon. Yeah, that's definitely not enough milk. So hopefully I don't spill. Alright, so that's about how much milk I want in my mug. So you can see the mug there. Boom. These are pretty large mugs. So I'm going to nuke this, microwave it for 1 minute. Then I'll stir it, microwave it for 30 seconds, stir it, check it, make sure it's the right consistency. Then if I need to, I'll microwave it for another 30 seconds, but it just varies, depends on how much milk I put in there. So give it a minute, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so now this is the consistency that you get out of it. It's a little liquidy and all of that. So we'll pop that back in there for 30 seconds. I'll show you my guilty pleasure though. Coffee creamer. This is like my guilty pleasure. I don't add any sweetener into my coffee anymore. I've broken myself from that. I added sugar to the oatmeal, so I don't really want to eat a lot of sugar. But I'm going to pop the oatmeal back in the microwave for 30 seconds and I'll show you what that looks like. Now you're going to see the oatmeal rise up in the cup or in the bowl and it bubbles. And you see that? It just shoots right back down. But it's a little bit thicker. And it's piping hot. Super hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit on the counter for a little bit and cool back down, and it will thicken. It will thicken right up, and that gives me time to let my coffee cool, and it gives me time to get my medicine in order, and I'll kind of munch on that here in just a few minutes whenever Isaac gets ready to get on the bus. But that's my breakfast as of lately, and I've been doing it for a couple weeks straight now. So, sore butt?
No, I have
Oh, blood. You have dinosaur blood?
Then the dinosaur one. A dinosaur one. That beagle and scary and mama dinosaur.
So they were playing cheetahs and stuff a minute ago. Now they're dinosaurs. So apparently I've got Jurassic Park in my house. So we're just waiting on the bus. And I took my medicine, but I forgot to get my monthly cast. I'll get that in a minute. But just waiting on the bus.
Do you want to be a tiger? Not for you.
Alright, we'll see you in the afternoon, okay?
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye, I love you.
I love you.
I can't wait until you get on the school bus. Alright, see you later, bub.
See you later.
Oh boy. So this is what breakfast looks like now. I got medicine in my nose. So it's nice and thick now, right? I got that flavor of that blueberry and that berry and whatever that other berry is. It's just a blend of berries. So it's got like raspberries, huckleberry, blueberry, strawberry, just all kinds of berries in it. So that's my go-to for breakfast lately. Lunch, I've been doing like egg sandwiches or tortilla wraps. But I'm gonna eat and get us ready to go to school, and then we'll go sit in line forever. And I'll have to time us to see how long it takes for us to take the back way in. But OMG, I forgot. I have soup in the crock pot. And that's what it reduced down to, and I'm thinking about throwing like a chunk of chicken in there and letting that cook too, but that looks amazing. So it smells really good. The smell isn't so strong. I don't know if I got used to it from sleeping and smelling that all night, or if the soups become more subtle, but like when I open the lid I can smell it and it smells so good. I'll probably have it with some cheese and bread and see how that goes for lunch. But so before I forget, where I was yesterday, and I started the time taking the highway, it's 7:16. Yesterday it was like 2:11, and it took me until like, what was it, 2:24 to get in the car rider line, but getting to the school was like 2:21, I think, 2:22, something like that. So it took me like 12 minutes to get to the school, and then another 2 minutes to get down the road and turn around and come back and sit in line. So we'll see how long it takes to get to Leo's school and get in line, and then I'll kind of make a estimate on which one's the better route to take, the back road or the highway. So I didn't actually get to record the time that we got there because, you know, the past few days we've been there and there's a line out the wazoo, right? No, they're getting kids out of the car like that. So they've stepped up their game and they're getting kids through pretty quick. It's 7:30 now and I'm already down the street from the school. And we got there around 7:25 and I'm like, what's going on here? It was like 7:25, 7:26. So the back way is a little bit quicker. It just feels like it takes so much longer because it's country roads. I say country, but it's still part of the city, but it's just middle of nowhere. So I'll probably start taking the back road from now on. I don't have to fight with traffic, and it's not going to be so hard on the brakes and stuff in the vehicles. Probably start taking that way home too, but what was I going to say? But yeah, they got the kids right out of the car, so there was no line, and I'm like, is something going on? Because we weren't waiting in line for half an hour. But I'm gonna go home. I've got to get ready for my interview this afternoon, and it doesn't really look like I'm gonna get to ride the motorcycle. I may just do it anyway, because whatever. But I'll get back with you in a bit. How's it going, guys? So, I shaved. I still have to dry and straighten my hair and put some product in it. But this is what I'm wearing today. So I have. Let's see if we can do that. I have my brown pants on. I got my nice shoes. What are these again? I can't remember. They're Marco or Mark New York. Andrew Mark. Very nice shoes. Let's see here. So I'm gonna get ready for my interview. Then I'm gonna I'm gonna edit an episode of Zombie while I finish my coffee, and then head out. It looks like it's gonna rain, so I don't think I'll take the motorcycle today. I'll just drive the truck, and then I'll let you guys know what happens. Wham! Okay guys, guess what time it is? It's time for me to try this suit. So, I'm just going to get a little bit of it. I'm going to let it cool. And I'm going to pop a couple pieces of bread in the oven and let them get toasted. Put a little cheese in here, and we'll see how this tastes. Onion soup like this before, but I wanted to. I put some Italian blend cheese in here, and the first thing I'm going to do is try the broth. Oh wow, that's like really sweet. So the onion broke down, and the sugars in the onion mixed into the water that I'd put in here to cook it down. It's a really, really good sweet flavor. I'm just gonna try the onion. The onion tastes exactly like the broth. So it's really sweet. It's got a really good flavor. I'm gonna try the carrot and see how tender it is. Now the carrot didn't mush like I thought it would. It has a little bit of chew, and there's not any crunch to it anymore though. So all I did was I made up some toast. So I'm just going to let the toast soak up in the broth real quick. I'm going to eat some more of this onion. That's really good. And instead of adding more salt to this, I added cheese. Cheese gives food kind of a salty flavor. So let's try this with the bread. Oh yeah, that is the spot, man. So my recommendation, if you're looking for a healthy alternative for your meals, I'm getting to the point where I want to make soups and stuff. We're that far in the year. Now the weather outside is terrible. Like, it's not awful, but it's just like cloudy, depressing. I can't do anything right now because I've got that interview. I'm not going to be able to ride the motorcycle, but this is the perfect meal for before I go in for my interview. And that's really good. So how I cooked this was in the crock pot. I probably added 2 cups of water, maybe a cup and a half. Like I said, I don't measure. I just pour until it looks good. I had a large red onion, and then a couple of really small carrots. I just cut them up, put it all in the crock pot, dumped some salt on it. Then I put basil, some paprika, and garlic powder in there. And I let it cook overnight in the crock pot on high. And then this morning when I got up, I put it down on low. And that's where it's been sitting. And it's like 10 o'clock, 9:45. And I'm having this for an early lunch. I'm kind of hungry. The oatmeal didn't last for very long. The bread actually dulls down the sweetness. So it's not as sweet whenever you mix in the bread. So that's really, really good. So this is my onion soup. Try it. See if you like it. Leave me a comment. Have you made onion soup like this before? I'm going to finish this and finish getting ready for my interview. And then we will meet back up later. I'm actually editing some zombie footage. So I just got back from going to that interview. The place is pretty much a joke. We sat down and one of their district managers or GMs or whatever they want to call him was in there too, and like he sat in there for only a couple minutes, because like the store manager or whatever the guy is there, he asked me some questions. He's like, "You got any experience in this?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, how much management experience do you have?" I'm like, "I don't know, 5 or 6 years." Well, what kind of experience? I manage projects for world's largest retailer. How many people do you have under you? In 2018, I had 85. Let's see here. Then he was like, "Okay, well, you know, I don't know what you're looking for." And I'm like, "Well, I'm looking for something on the, you know, higher end of 15 to 20 an hour." And he's like, "Yeah, our people, after they've worked here for like 2 years, max out at like 12. We usually start them at 10.50. And I'm like, "That's half of what my salary requirements are right now." He's like, "Well, if you like get through the training pretty quick and you're a quick learner." And I'm like sitting here thinking, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, you know, like you'd be tossing this and that, and you know, you go through training, and usually it takes about 2 years to go through training, a year if you're really fast at learning, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "So you're saying it could be a year to 2 years before you give me like $1 to $2 pay raise?" When yeah. And he's like, well, if you don't want to do that, then you know, you could be a driver, and you could do that, and like I need more drivers than I do anything else." And I'm like, "Okay, well, why don't you tell me about, you know, the driver thing?" I have no idea how that works, because at the last place I worked, I drove box trucks, I drove semis, I drove vehicles whenever they needed me to. A lot of the vehicles I drove were high-top vans, because of my technicians having those, box trucks, semis. Well, we don't provide company vehicles. We used to, but we don't anymore. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you pay fuel on that?" And he's like, "Well, it's not really fuel. We just pay people mileage." And I'm like, "Okay, what's your mileage?" And he's like, 31 cents a mile. And I'm like, "How many miles do your drivers average?" And he's like, "Well, if you work 8 to 10 hours, then you usually average about 400 to 500 miles a week." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let me do the math real quick." And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, that's only like $100 a week. And I'm like, think about it for a minute, because I got to make sure that the truck's making money. Because that's the way it's got to be. If the truck ain't making money, then it's a no-go on that. And so I came home and I calculated it. You work and you drive like 500 miles. 400 to 500 miles. I put like 400 in calculator. You do 400 miles times 31. Let me just pull that up real quick. 400 times 0.31. Yeah, 124. So let's say 400 will go on the low scale there. It's $124 a week. If I were to drive 400 miles, I would need 2 fill-ups, right? So it costs about $35 right now to fill my truck up. Okay, so $70 a week. Okay, that's not terrible. But here's the kicker. They take your money from what they normally pay in the store, $10 an hour, and they cut it down to $5 an hour. As soon as you step outside the store, you're $5 an hour. They said, okay, well, you make tips too. What if I don't make tips? Because I don't tip anyone. Because if I wanted to work that job, I'm not going to expect to get tips. I'm going to expect to get paid by the company I work for my work. That's the backwards thing about America too, is that when you go into a job like that, people expect gratuity. If people would stop giving out gratuity, companies would be forced to pay them a better wage than $2 an hour, and then for them to like wait on people to hand out gratuity. He said, well, you know, if you don't make that much on tips, then the company makes up the difference. And I'm like, you make up the difference on tips. How does that work? Because how do you know that somebody's not just strong-arming you out of money? That it just doesn't sound right. So then, that didn't sound appealing, and I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out what my schedule is with my kids, because I do have to get childcare taken care of. I do have to get them taken care of because they are in therapy. And he's like, well, if you just wanted to work while they're in school, we could do that. And I'm like, sitting here thinking, do I want to do that, or I can get stuff done around the house during the day and then just live off of what I have in savings until I go through training and job placement to find me something that is suited for me, that I'm not going to get bored or think is below me. I don't think it's below me. It's just I'm at that point in my life where I don't have to walk everywhere, where, you know, I can do what I want and be comfortable. I don't have to worry about doing this crap job, slaving myself away for such a small wage. Because I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to kill myself for someone and not make very much money and, you know, be miserable. My mental health is my thing now. It's like, that's what I've come to realize through this pandemic, is that my mental health and my physical health mean more to me than going to work and slaving myself away like I did at the last company I did, which I did that and I got so much experience and so much knowledge, and I did all this stuff to where my lowest pay rate is twice what they are stating. And all my recruiters are looking to put me at twice the pay rate as this place. So it's just not worth it to me to do that to myself. I'd rather be able to work on myself and get the things that I feel are stressful
done, and then move on. So yeah, you may look at the money. You get $124, but you only pay $70 a week in gas. I also have to look at tire wear and tear. How frequently am I going to need service on my vehicle? I calculated it every 6 weeks. Every month and a half, I would have to service my vehicle. And guess what? That's going to cost me $40 to $50. So 1 week, I would have to work to be able to service my vehicle. So I'm only making a small overhead for 5 weeks. And whenever I talk about small overhead, here's what I'm talking about. So we did 124, right? 124 times, okay, 52. That is $6,448. That has to go into the truck. And I'm putting wear and tear on my personal vehicle. That is my vehicle. That is not your property. And it's not like you're leasing it from me either. You're just straight up, you're going to deliver this stuff and you're going to use your personal vehicle. Screw that. Now, I'm past that point too. I will not put my personal belongings at someone else's discretion. So no. That's another thing where we're so backwards here. To make money, you have to tear your personal stuff up, and you don't get compensated for it. Oh, but you get paid 31 cents per mile. That's not good enough. For my kids' therapy, I get paid 50 cents per mile. That's for therapy. Okay, get that. Think about that. So, every day I drive them to therapy, I make 50 cents per mile. Every week, I make half as much as this place pays, and I don't have to do all that driving. Think about that. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to the tried and trusted and work on myself. So, I mean, I may entertain the idea for just a small amount of time, but in the end, no. I'm gonna go back and work on me and get in front of those people that will give me what I had before, which is being able to take care of myself, my kids, my mental health, the kids' mental health. So, that's just what I wanted to rant about today. I'm gonna go pick up the kids in a little bit. I'm still hungry, but I don't want to eat all of that soup in case the boys want some of it. I'm gonna see if they'll eat it. If they don't, then that's fine. I'll have it for lunch tomorrow. I'm working on some Let's Play. I've got all that edited, ready to go. I'm about to upload that. So I'll get back with you later. I ranted and raved for 12 minutes, so we'll see you in a bit. Holy hell. So, I know you're not going to understand how far this is, but way up there is where I was sitting. Probably about a, I don't know, eighth of a mile, quarter of a mile up the road is where I was sitting yesterday. Today is the first day of kindergarten. So, that being said, I'm probably going to be waiting here for at least half an hour to 45 minutes to pick up Isaac. And Leo gets out in 20 minutes. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just kind of judging this stuff to see what happens about picking up the boys. And then next week I'll know for sure what to do. But I don't want to take up any more time because I know this vlog's going to be long because of that rant and rave about my interview. So I'm going to get off here. So recap of the day real quick. You know, too much blah blah. I'm not going to do a recap now because I don't want to keep you guys watching for very much longer. I went on a rant for like 12 minutes earlier and like 4 minutes at one point. So tomorrow's Fun Friday. We have that to look forward to. And everything's been okay today. I got a lot of stuff done. So I will check in with you tomorrow. day 46 of Move Streak. So, leave me a comment down below. You know, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn bell notifications on. Leave me a comment down below. How was your day? What did you do today? And then I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you